December 2018, and welcome to episode 5 of Nema Outpost, a monthly Star Wars podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Brittany.
And I'm DJ, your second host.
And in today's episode, we're going to break down some episode 9 set leaks. But before we do that, we have the news. So DJ's going to start us off today.
Oh, I'm going to start us off today with a recent post on CNET.com. The title of the article was Expect Slowdown on Star Wars Movie via Disney boss Bob Iger. So, to summarize the article, it seems like Disney has taken close attention to how poorly Solo did in the theaters, as many considered it to be a failure, and also how the community is still outraged about The Last Jedi even almost a year out, or 9 months out. So, Bob Iger has now claimed, here's the quote, "As I look back, I think the mistake that I made, I take the blame, was a little too much too fast." So he believes that, that we should be able to break up the Star Wars a little bit more than what we had, where we had Last Jedi in December and Solo in May. And I think that's a fantastic idea, that this isn't, the Marvel franchise where everything's positive and there's no real other way to interpret it. Now, people may have their own ideas, but generally, it's all along one path. It's a pretty linear storyline. Otherwise, with the Star Wars saga, we have many people on many different fronts, whether relationships or how much they hate or like a certain character. You don't really hear that a lot with Marvel.
Yeah.
So with this, and there was just a lot of pushback after The Last Jedi that still lasted long into when people were supposed to start getting pumped for Solo.
Oh, it's still here.
Oh, yeah, well, exactly. So Solo suffered because many people had maybe on-set Star Wars fatigue because they've just been overloaded with it.
I don't know if it was fatigue as much as anger, but
but then you have something that comes out right afterwards.
I just think the problem with Solo is a lot of people just weren't interested in a young Han Solo, and I get it. I
initially wasn't either, but, I would think that the promos would have convinced people, it looks fun. I mean, I know there's a lot of baggage with Solo when they changed directors, and there's a rumor that the lead actor didn't know how to act. And
she was fine.
I meant Solo. I forgot the guy's name.
Alden Ehrenreich?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was fine.
Well, no, he was fine, but remember there was those rumors that he had to go back to acting class.
I think people exaggerated that.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I remember that, and I went, oh, well, that's concerning. Okay, so he goes on to quote that you can expect some slowdown, but that doesn't mean we're not going to make films. He noted that J.J. Abrams is busy, obviously, working on Star Wars Episode 9, and the Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and Weiss are developing the different sagas as well. Iger's quoted to say, "But I think we're going to be a little bit more careful about volume and timing, and the buck stops here on that." I would assume that means that they're going to be smarter about how they're scheduling these things. Obviously, this kind of proves that you can't have 2 movies in the period of a year. I know that they were different in terms of one is the Skywalker saga, one is just spin-offs, but it just, for me, the spin-offs kind of just seem something that quickly clean up after the conflict that all the fans had after the Star Wars saga movies.
Well,
7 and 8.
I looked as I get Disney was trying to do something different,
Yeah.
And everybody forgets that when Marvel first started out, they didn't have their formula down pat. They were trying to figure things out, and then they hit their stride. It's like Star Wars may be a 40-year-old franchise, but to Disney, it's a new franchise. They're still trying to work out how
how it actually work out.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm happy when I heard about this. I thought, okay, this is great, because I believe that after Episode 9, there should be a break, because it would add finality to the fact that Episode 9 is the last movie in the Skywalker saga. It would definitely add finality if we're going to go 3 or 4 years without a Star Wars movie. It'd be okay, let us digest the end of this trilogy and the end of the Star Wars saga, and then get us pumped for, new movies. And you can kind of tell that, after 9, it seems like they're going to shift their focus towards the TV show that's going to be on the Disney Play streaming service, which I'm actually I think should be interesting, because it's funny how Star Wars has been in every medium so far except like live action television, you know? I guess if you can count the holiday special, but nobody does. But
You mean you don't enjoy it?
No.
You don't enjoy Princess Leia's
And
beautiful...
Lumpy Baka?
Well, Lumpy Baka was in the Solo movie for a brief moment, wasn't he?
That wasn't Lumpy Baka, apparently.
What do you mean it wasn't?
That wasn't Lumpy Baka.
Well, now I just like that movie more now.
I'm disappointed it wasn't Lumpy. But
It should have been Lumpy after all we had to deal with him in the holiday special.
Lumpy, I mean, they're not going to do spin-offs anymore, but Lumpy...
A Lumpy Baka spin-off movie.
You realize, though, if they're not making these spin-offs, we're not going to get Utini, a Star Wars story.
We'll get it one day.
I'll write it. If I have to...
Hey,
you know what?
no one knows what these Game of Thrones people are coming up with. They could just be having a whole spin-off on Jawas. We have no idea.
I'm, kind of nervous about the Game of Thrones one, because I love Game of Thrones, but, if anybody watches Game of Thrones, the female characters are not necessarily always treated in the best possible way, so...
Right, but that's more of,
Not just, a sexual way, as terms of, the way they're written.
What? Oh, what do you mean by that?
They're
You're
not
more
always,
experienced in this room.
they're kind of used to... They get fridged a lot. I mean, there's some stronger female characters there too, but they're usually there's abuse.
They're not as consistently strong. Let's say episode to episode. Is that the case?
I mean, they've gotten stronger in these seasons, but a lot of times,
right. But initially,
it's just. Again, it could be because it's on HBO, but it's just women are raped and abused and.
Well, I don't. I think.
I know Disney's. I mean,
I was gonna say going from HBO to Disney. I'm sure there's a lot tighter and more stringent rules that these guys are gonna have to follow in order to develop their brand.
Right.
I don't see them. I mean, you're not gonna have a Disneyfied version of Game of Thrones for Star Wars.
Thank God.
Yeah, but even if you were to clean it up, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't want Game of Thrones for Star Wars.
No, two completely different things.
Exactly. So they can. I've never watched Game of Thrones, so I don't know. I'm a bad person, but I would think that Disney generally puts things in the right hands. So
they do, and I'm sure they'll make something that's interesting. And like I said, I'm glad that this slowdown is happening, because like I said, it definitely adds finality to 9, being this is the last of the Skywalker saga, and it gives us time to get us excited about the Rian Johnson trilogy and the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, because especially since they're not going to deal with characters that we've met before, we need to have the build up to make it exciting for us, and we don't know when in the timeline those trilogies are taking place.
yeah,
but I was I'd rather them spend more time developing those than actually just trying to rush them. And honestly, as much as I enjoyed Solo, I'm okay with the spin-offs not happening. I can live without a Boba Fett movie. I don't need that. That is useless and pointless.
I agree.
So I'm interested to see what they do with the live action TV show. Give the movies a break, because what made seeing The Force Awakens so much fun was it was the first Star Wars movie in 10 years.
Well,
and that's what made it so exciting.
Well, I hope they don't think that that's going to require that to make it exciting every time.
No, it's not going to be a 10-year wait.
But the difference between Marvel, I mean, there's many differences.
Yeah.
But there's the difference you have is that Star Wars is a part of a culture for 40 years now. The MCU, which, I mean, I know there's comic book fans that have read the comic books and that's it. But MCU movies, starting with Iron Man in 2008, brought Marvel to the mainstream everyday person. You probably never read a comic book, and then all of a sudden you're starting to hear about Iron Man and children and all that stuff.
Right.
So there's a lot, I'd say, less nostalgic holding on to people, and I mean that's really the bigger complaints about The Last Jedi, is that they take the nostalgic character of Luke Skywalker, and some people quote ruined him because he
that could be a whole podcast.
Yeah, we could go off in that direction for a while, but this is the best thing. You can't. Yeah. I understand what Disney was thinking. Push it out as much as you can. Make all the money possible. But but unlike MCU problems, you don't have a bad reputation. And if you keep on going forward and pushing out Star Wars movies, you can get a bad enough reputation that people won't go see these movies because there's a a mixed fan base stigma about it.
Right. And the MCU movies lend themselves better to like their own single stories. As much as they cross over with the Avengers, it's like you can have 3 movies a year because you have 3 different characters that you're dealing with, and 3 completely different power sets and 3 different sort of sections of the world. You know, you could have Black Panther and Wakanda, then you go back in time with Captain Marvel, or you can go into space with Guardians of the Galaxy. But like Star Wars is in space.
They're all individual, and
Right.
there doesn't need to be any.
What makes Star Wars exciting for me isn't like I need all of these movies all the time. It's like you take the time, you get invested in the characters, and then like waiting for those movies to come out and getting into that world. Like the Marvel ones, it's like I feel like you don't get to enjoy or digest that movie before the next one comes out. And I don't know, I like the people complain about the world building in Star Wars, but I enjoy like the world building in Star Wars, and it's not a story. A space opera is not a story that lends itself to like 3 movies a year, especially when you're focusing on like one universe like that. Marvel's just lends itself to that, and I'm glad they're realizing it's not Marvel, because I think Marvel's kind of overloaded with all the movies they've got, and I wasn't really impressed with Infinity War, so
that's really it on the Bob Iger story. So this is a positive step in the right direction for Star Wars in general as a franchise for Disney's sake.
I agree to a point, but if you like Jawas, we're not getting.
What do you mean you agree to? What do you mean you agree to a point?
Because we're not getting Utini a Star Wars story.
No, it doesn't mean you're not getting Utini a Star Wars story. All it simply means is that you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Somebody give us $100,000. And instead of remaking Last Jedi, we'll make Utini a Star Wars story.
$100,000.
Oh, sorry, $100 million.
Thank you.
I sound like Dr. Evil.
Yeah, what do you mean? $100,000.
$100 million.
$100,000, we could probably get a costume.
Wasn't it $100,000 they were trying to raise? I'm pretty sure.
I see. You're more.
That's why I said $100,000. I'm pretty sure.
Well, okay, to make edits is one thing.
No, they want to remake the entire movie.
Doesn't that mean just editing out all the parts?
They already did that. No, they want to remake it, like make Luke like not die and kill Kylo, things like that. Like.
Well, so a couple of reshoots then.
Yeah, but they wanted to get completely new actors and everything to do it. I'm like, good luck with that. Have fun.
Local actors don't cost that much.
So stupid. Anyway.
Community theater actors would love to be in the next Star Wars movie.
So, moving from, like the general slowdown to the movies to episode 9, there has been some more casting news that's come out. So, Matt Smith joins Star Wars Episode 9. If you don't know who that is, he was one of the doctors in Doctor Who from 2010 to 2013. I don't know what number doctor that was. I don't follow Doctor Who. But he's also on Netflix's The Crown, and he was Genesis in the god-awful Terminator Genesis movie that came out a few years ago.
I told you not to mention that.
Well, you got to. He was in Terminator Genesis.
Oh, you're right, because everyone remembers him from Terminator Genesis and not Doctor Who.
Listen, I've only seen him in Terminator Genesis.
Okay, well, me too, but that's not the point.
The point is...
Also, the point's not the fact that how are they making another Terminator movie? That's just going to be an open-ended question.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me. But it says here about him that I think it's supposed to be like a key role. It doesn't really give many details. I'm looking at an article from Hollywood Reporter. It just says that, yeah, he's being cast and that it's a key role, but they're not giving any more details about that. So, what do you think he could play? Resistance, First Order?
Resistance.
That's the face for First Order officer. Or my favorite go-to when it comes to casting, a Knight of Ren.
He looks like a stunt double for Hux.
Oh my god, he does. He does.
Maybe Hux has a brother. Or family member.
Well, Hux is an illegitimate kid.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah, he killed his father too.
Maybe he shows up as a flashback of his father? I don't know.
Do we care enough about Hux to see his father?
I don't know how to sim it. Well, if he's illegitimate, maybe there's a legitimate child.
There wasn't.
Fine, just cut me down.
No, I'm just saying they already have all of Hux's backstory in like novels. It's like he gladly killed his father. His mother was like a kitchen maid or something like that. Yeah.
She was a kitchen maid?
Something like that.
She was an appliance?
Something like that. But she was not someone of high ranking. His father was like part of the Empire and everything, Brendel Hux. And then he's Armitage Hux.
Brendel Hux?
Brendel Hux is Armitage Hux's father.
Good thing when they don't call him by his first name.
Armitage Hux. So
Arm Hux.
Ugh. And there's another casting news for all you Lord of the Rings fans out there. So, if you remember, do you remember Merry? One of the hobbits?
Of course I remember Merry.
Well, Merry, Dominic Monaghan, is going to be in episode 9. And, gee, I wonder how he got the job, because he was on J.J. Abrams' Lost. The show Lost. I don't think he's going to play a big role. I think it's going to be more of like a walk-on cameo.
That's funny.
Oh, God.
That's a good one, Britt.
Yeah, I get it. Hobbit, small, big role. I think he's going to be more like the cameo, like a stormtrooper, like Tom Hardy was. Tom Hardy
was cut.
I know he was.
Thank goodness. I can't believe if that really is him, which I would say it is in that deleted scene. If you haven't watched it, go watch the Last Jedi deleted scenes. He gives Finn a good pat on the ass.
That's Tom Hardy. It's got to be.
Watching that scene, I went, oh man, I wonder why that was cut. But yeah,
I don't think it's.
Merry being cast isn't anything to
My question is, whatever happened to Pippin?
Yeah, really. The both of them should be talking about second
Billy Boyd, where's Pippin?
We need a quote for second breakfast.
Oh my god, we do need second breakfast.
We need a quote about
Listen, I have second breakfast, okay? And I'm not even a Lord of the Rings fan, and I agree with that.
Okay. Segue here. You know that one of my favorite games on the computer was Battle for Middle-earth, where you could actually build your own armies and then take control of some of these characters.
Yeah.
The hobbits were worth nothing, but you could always create them and throw them out there. When you create Merry, one of the quotes Merry would say is, "I think it's time for lunch." And I'm like, this has nothing to do with anything, but I'm glad he thinks it's time for lunch.
Listen, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I think it's time for lunch. Like, that's just how my mindset works. Okay, in some tangentially related Star Wars news, Adam Driver is hosting SNL for the second time on September 29th.
Woo!
And this is exciting for many reasons for the Tumblr crowd, because it's our first glimpse of what Kylo's hair could look like. Now,
Kylo hair.
I'm not someone who really cares all that much, but if you go on Tumblr... No, I'm saying if you go on Tumblr...
I think you care.
Not as much as some Tumblr people, where it's an all-out war between Force Awakens hair and The Last Jedi hair.
You care, though.
I like to watch the debates on it, but...
You're the Michael Jackson character eating the popcorn?
Yes, that's me, on that meme. So yeah, that's a big deal there. It's also, I think he's the only cast member of the new Star Wars to do SNL. I don't know if anybody else has, but this is his second time doing it.
So does that mean we get do we get a reprise of Matt the Radar
Technician? That's
Technician?
what everybody's hoping, is we get a Matt the Radar Technician, or people think there's gonna be some Reylo reference.
Ooh. Because
they did it at the MTV Movie Awards, because it's now a mainstream thing. So are we gonna get that? I would like Matt the Radar Technician sequel, please.
Yeah. But I don't know how they could do that.
Well, now that he's Supreme Leader, he wants to see like how people like think that.
Undercover bosses again. Okay.
Like, do undercover boss, like how is he doing a Supreme Leader, or something like that. I think it'd be funny, and now he can say, if people are like, oh, Kylo Ren's not shredded, and be like, well, Last Jedi disproved that.
Well, he didn't have an 8-pack in the movie. We
didn't know he had like super high pants.
Yeah, enough that you could have seen something though.
I guess. But I want Matt the Radar Technician to come back.
Now, unrelated, but since you mentioned the Tumblr community and since you're an avid watcher of these debates.
I am.
What are some of the best reasonings for one hairstyle over another?
So, some people... Okay, so we call the Force Awakens hair the floof, because it's like permed. Like, honestly, when he takes the helmet off, it's like, wasn't even wearing a helmet. It's so hairsprayed and ridiculous. And... people really like that because
he uses L'Oreal, right?
Clearly uses L'Oreal, but like...
because he's worth it.
like, especially now watching The Last Jedi, I'm like, okay, that hair's over the top. Like, it looks better in the fight because it looks more natural, but, like, when he's just, like, in the interrogation scene, like, your hair is just too big. I'm like, it's just, it's too big.
Yeah, it looks like he just got out of the salon and came over and was like, yeah, it's time to interrogate somebody.
I get the point that they did that because they wanted to be like, hey, he's not, like, this evil, deformed guy that people thought he was. He's this young guy who's, like, quote-unquote, not really the villain. You know, even J.J. Abrams says, like, in the commentary, they're like a prince and a princess. So it's like, oh, it's like the fairy tale motif thing they were going for. But then people like The Last Jedi hair because it's more, like, not grungy, but, like, I guess it's more, like, natural? I don't know. And, like, I guess it reflects the fact that, like, he hasn't shampooed in, like, the past week because he's been so stressed out. And
he's out of L'Oreal.
He's out of L'Oreal, and
he won't dare put anything else, other product in his hair.
No.
That's my theory.
But his hair did floof a bit when he was getting ready to see Rey in the elevator. The hair is floofed.
He borrowed somebody else's.
Just like she put makeup on, like clearly has makeup on in those scenes, his hair's clearly floofed. They were getting ready for each other. They were like, gotta go get my go. He probably, like, I don't think Hux actually uses shampoo. So he probably didn't get it from Hux. I don't know where. He probably harassed some First Order officer to get their shampoo.
Where did she get her makeup kit?
Okay, we don't know what Luke did in his spare time. Maybe he, like, was a drag queen for those amphibians.
It could have been to fit in.
You never know.
Or they could have made him out of porgs.
No. Okay, the makeup's not tested on porgs. It's porg free, okay? Rey would not wear makeup.
Why would she even... She doesn't even care about the porgs. She doesn't even interact with them at all.
Well, everybody should care about porgs. Even though Daisy Ridley does not like the porgs in real life. But,
So then why would Rey care?
That's true. But, it's, if you notice in those scenes, they're totally, like, in better shape in those scenes when they meet each other.
I think it's just the lighting.
No, she actually has makeup. You could tell, mascara and all that stuff that she's not wearing the rest of the movie before.
Really?
Yep. It's especially as a woman, you can notice it. But everybody on Tumblr, we all notice. It's like she has lip color on. She's like a lighter lip color.
Where the hell did she get that from?
I don't know, but it's obvious when you watch it. You see the beginning part of the movie, okay, not made up, and then you see that part, and she is made up.
Well, that's strange.
No, it makes sense because she's seeing her boyfriend.
Still strange for a girl who owns nothing to be able to be made up.
Well,
where'd she stop off
she
at?
scavenged it somewhere.
Oh, you think... You know what?
Maybe she found some on the Falcon, because Leia used to be on the Falcon.
I was just going to say maybe she borrowed some from Princess Leia.
We know that the cape closet is huge. There might have been like a makeup vanity in there, too, when Leia was in there.
Yeah. We know so much more about the Millennium Falcon thanks to Solo.
Oh, trust me. After Solo, people have said some interesting things about the Falcon.
Yeah, that bed. End scene.
So now we're moving into episode 9 rumors.
We really have no idea what's going on anymore. And we only have a couple of set pics that are come out every so often. And really, we can only take so much from them.
Here's the first rumor from Cinema Blend, which really isn't a rumor because the Raylas have been predicting this since December 2017. So basically, this is the rumor claims, and this is from an article on Cinema Blend, that part of Star Wars Episode 9 will be dedicated to Kylo Ren working to root out a potential mole that he believes is giving information to the Resistance. In the end, it will be discovered, and here's a real spoiler bit, that the mole is actually General Hux. Is that really, like, a huge twist when everybody kind of suspected it anyway?
That Hux is a mole giving information to the First Order? I would think
giving to the Resistance. And it goes on to say here...
at least, from what I remember from my predictions, I would have thought it would have been the other way around.
Well, this is what it says here. It says, according to the rumor, coming via the Express of the UK, Hux hasn't been a secret mole working for the Resistance the entire time. He's not even actually sympathetic to Resistance at all. Rather, Hux hates Kylo Ren so much that he's going to help the Resistance in order to show the rest of the First Order what a terrible leader Ben Solo is. Hux seems to think that he can take down Kylo Ren and then perhaps take over the First Order himself. So he's not looking to destroy it, just harmed enough that he can come in and save the day. Didn't everybody predict in December about the coup? Hux's coup? Just the look he gives Kylo at the end. It's like, he's gunning for him.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, but to think that he's giving information to the Resistance...
how else could he do it? He doesn't have... It's not like he's got force powers. There's got to be a way he can get rid of Kylo. I don't necessarily think it's going to be Resistance. I still think he's going to use the truth of, like, he killed Snoke.
Yeah, that's what
Can't trust him. But, I mean, I could also, I guess, see him doing the mole thing, but because he's a little rat thing.
But a mole just to make Kylo look bad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs to do that, though.
Yeah, honestly, something tells me Kylo's gonna... If his leadership on Crate was any indication, he's gonna do that himself.
He's never been a good leader, so... And without... Well...
Wait.
There's been instances where he hasn't... At least to me... There hasn't been instances where it's like, oh, it seems like the Resistance has the upper hand here. No, generally, it's just lack of follow-through for Kylo.
Wait, are you telling me that he's not a good villain as, like, an evil leader?
No, his name's Supreme Leader. Of course he is.
I wonder why that could be. It's like they're trying to write a redemption arc for him or something. Shocker.
It is a shocker.
But yes, that's basically the rumor.
That's a rumor, but that's... Like, you and I said something similar about this in our predictions post.
Yeah, it's so funny, though, when, like, the Reylo community said that back in December, nobody says anything, but now that it's on CinemaBlend, it's like, oh my god, it's a massive rumor. But it's not from Mike Zero, thank God, because then I wouldn't trust it at all.
Then you would know you're wrong, and you have to start back from square one.
That whole thing with Mike Zero and Ryan Johnson was the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. Alright, so here's some more... This one I think is way more speculation and reaching.
Okay, tell me about it.
Okay, so this is from comicbook.com. Star Wars. Does Andy Serkis's canceled convention appearance confirm Snoke's involvement in Episode 9?
No.
So he
could be busy.
Exactly. This is what the article says. Also, guys, he did direct a movie that's coming out soon. So, Andy Serkis was slated to attend the Keystone Comic Convention this past weekend, though he ultimately was unable to appear. With Star Wars Episode 9 currently filming, fans are wondering if this means his cancellation was due to his involvement in the new film.
No, it's probably because he was busy at home watching his appearance in Legally Blonde. Was he in Legally Blonde?
No, it was 13 going on 30.
Crap.
Get your Andy Serkis movies right, okay? Get your Andy Serkis movies right. Luke Wilson is in Legally Blonde.
Luke Wilson's in Legally Blonde.
Yes.
Right, okay, no, yeah. But... that just, man, Luke Wilson, please.
Anyway, so it goes on to say...
Screwed that one.
It goes on to say that Serkis being unable to appear at the convention doesn't necessarily mean he missed the event due to filming scenes as Supreme Leader Snoke in Episode 9.
No, he could just be having a case of sickness, or he could not want to show up.
However, this wouldn't be the first time an actor involved with the upcoming sequel canceled a September convention appearance to film scenes for the movie. Prior to the official announcement that Billy D. Williams was returning to the saga for the first time since Return of the Jedi, a convention announced that he was canceling his scheduled appearance due to conflicts related to a film shoot. When Lucasfilm announced that production had officially begun for the film on August 1st, this confirmed the explanation for his absence from the event.
But wait, that states that Billy D. canceled due to...
Right.
A movie.
I want to check something, because I know Andy Serkis he's directing that Mowgli movie.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, so I think maybe that has something to do with it. Like, he directed a movie. Like, let's see, Andy Serkis, Mowgli? Did that come out? Like, did I miss that? Because I know there was a trailer for it. I don't know when it's... Oh, no, it comes out in October, so he's probably doing work for it.
So he's probably doing last bit works for it.
So that makes more sense to me. It's coming out. It's gonna be a Netflix film.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably related to that. So if Snoke does appear, it might just be as like flashbacks if they show more of like how Kylo met Snoke or something like that. I think we can pretty much confirm that Snoke has no real importance anymore. He never really did.
The whole idea was that it was a facade. Mm-hmm. To bring him back would kind of be a waste of time. You've killed him.
And that was such a good scene in the movie.
Right.
Such a good twist that was like, you didn't expect it. And as much as I know people wanted Snoke to be like Darth Plagueis and things like that,
right.
It's like, that just wasn't his character, and that's fine. And I don't think there's really anything of it. He could just be sick. He could just not want to go. He could be directing duties because of Mowgli.
Right. All those reasons are enough to say the probability of him canceling this appearance simply because he's filming scenes as Snoke, unlikely at best.
Very much unlikely. Okay, so now we're going to get into episode 9, set pics. So, they recently released set pics of them filming on location at Black Park, which is in England, I assume, or somewhere in Europe. I may be wrong about this, but it seems as though they're filming on like a jungle location. So they've been releasing photos like of a lot of like they're in a jungle. The Falcon is there. We've had our first look at Finn and Poe. Now, I think these photos relate back to the photo that was released the day of production started. So, if you look at the photo the day production started, you see Finn and Chewie on the Falcon with someone in the cockpit.
Right.
You weren't able to identify who's in the cockpit.
You really couldn't tell who's in the cockpit.
Who's in the cockpit? It seems as though someone is wearing a long white sleeve shirt. And now we know from the set pics from Black Park, Finn's wearing the same outfit. The long person in the long white shirt is Poe. So the two of them are together along with Chewie off on some sort of mission. So there's several set pics of them doing something with some weird looking space horses?
Space horse woolly mammoth
things.
Chewie's
there. There's a tribe of people, it looks like. So
not Jawas.
Not Jawas, unfortunately.
Yeah, they have horses with like some CGI over their face or tape over their faces.
Because there was a while back, John Boyega was taking riding lessons, so I guess this is related to that. And this whole idea of like them filming on like a jungle planet was actually rumored months before this actual shoot happened.
This doesn't look like a jungle planet.
Well, no, this is part of it. There's more photos
I was gonna say these are like on a hill in an open field.
So it basically shows Finn and Poe with Chewie talking to some people. It looks like a tribe of people. This is from Making Star Wars. So they actually are pretty legit. So.
Well, no, I just wanted to make sure that we give credit to the people.
Yeah, so it's from Making Star Wars. That was so. They've been releasing pics. They've been filming at Black Park for a while, apparently. And you start seeing, like, they have pictures of the Falcon in this, like, jungle setting. And nobody knows, like, if this is Endor or a new jungle planet or Takodana, where Maz's castle was in The Force Awakens.
It could be any of those things.
It could be any of them. It could be something new. So there's also pictures of them with like they're adding vines to the trees and they're adding these big slabs of rock too.
Okay.
So I want to talk about these because I think what's more telling is who's not in those photos. Because it's clear that Finn, Poe, and Chewie are going on some sort of mission for the Resistance, maybe recruiting people because it seems like they're talking to a tribe of people. Who knows? What I do find interesting is that Rey, who the Falcon's pretty much hers, isn't there with the Falcon. So if we had that set pic of Poe flying the Falcon, Chewie being his co-pilot, and Finn being in there, where is Rey and why did she let them use the Falcon? Like, I get the Falcon's like the Resistance's ship now, but it's like, was it an instance like in Return of the Jedi where Han let Lando fly the Falcon for a reason? Like, where she's like, yeah, you could do this. Like, where is she? Because she's not on the Falcon. Is she at some Resistance base? Is she going somewhere else, doing something else with somebody else? Who knows?
I mean, if to go along with the rumor before, maybe she's meeting with Hux because she thinks Hux is a mole.
She could. I think maybe, personally, I think
she's on vacation.
No, what I think is going to happen is that at the beginning we're going to have like the group of them together, but I still think they're going to go off on different storyline path. So I think that the Finn Poe stuff is going to be more the Resistance arc, and she's doing the more Force arc stuff. Who knows when this falls in the movie? Maybe she's already been driven out at that point, if we're going with the whole idea of, like, her being isolated. Also, Rose isn't there. And it looks like there is a bit of a time skip, because Finn's hair does look a little longer in those photos, but not that long, so it can't be a huge time skip. And I really hope they don't have Rose still unconscious that entire time, because that's awful.
No.
So, like, what is Rose doing if she's not with them? I think she's one of the biggest question marks, because I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do with her, personally. But I think it's really telling Rey's not with the Falcon. Why isn't she with the Falcon? But, okay, so what bothers me about these photos is who is flying the Falcon. Poe. I get it, he's a pilot. But...
he's one hell of a pilot.
No, because the problem is...
TFA quote.
Is that people make him almost Leia's surrogate son. And it's like, he's flying the Falcon. He should be, really Leia's son, because he's talented like Han is. It's like...
well, I was going to say he's more Han's son. I know it's Leia's son too, but it's still the same idea. It's like...
well, what's interesting, though, is...
they just carbon copy Han
I just,
in a way.
like, again, we've mentioned this. We're not huge fans of Poe.
No.
And I just don't like the idea of him flying the ship that should one day be Ben Solo's ship.
Listen, it's the Resistance is going in one direction, and with Leia out of the picture, and Haldo obviously out of the picture, it leaves one guy kind of in command. And if, for example, if they found out that Rey has this connection with Kylo Ren, they might be like, well, you're trying to sabotage us, so get away from us.
He could have stolen the Falcon from her, too.
Yeah, he would do that.
He would do that. But see, I don't know if Finn would go along with that.
Well, I mean, he would go with his boyfriend anyway.
I think at first, but I think his loyalty would ultimately be to Rey, since she was the first one he met.
Well, not necessarily.
I think it would.
Who saved him?
True, but I think he's got, like, the brother-sister relationship with Rey.
Yeah, he's got a more intense relationship with Poe.
Well.
They're best buds.
Well, people have speculated that...
bros before.
People speculated that Disney released these photos because they're very well taken for, like, set leak photos. And that Disney's almost like, hey, we'll leak kind of the unimportant storyline because we don't want photos of the other stuff to come out.
Could be preemptive leaks, sure.
It could be preemptive leaks just to sort of get speculation going, but without giving away. It's also J.J. Abrams. He doesn't like to give away really important things. Anything, really. But, so this, apparently, there were rumors on Reddit for a while that someone saw concept art. This was, like, a few months ago in early of the summer, like June, July. People were talking about how they saw concept art of, like, Finn and Poe going to some, like, jungle-like planet and recruiting people there. Now, this is what gets me excited. In that same group of concept art, now this could be completely wrong.
Right.
And this could be a possible spoiler.
Right.
So if you don't want to listen, that there was concept art of Kylo flying the Falcon. No, seriously. I want Ben and Rey to fly the Falcon. But I want him to fly... Okay, something to note about the Falcon. As far as I remember, there hasn't been a villain that's ever stepped foot on the Falcon, right? I know Kylo in deleted scenes in TFA walks onto the Falcon.
You said villain, right? You mean like main villain or any villain?
Villain.
Stormtroopers.
Okay, well, they don't count.
Oh, okay.
I guess main villains then. None. I know Kylo did in The Force Awakens, but he's not in the deleted scenes, but he's not a villain. So let's be honest about that.
No one really ever gets the chance to walk on the Falcon.
Right, but I feel
other
like...
than a couple stormtroopers that Luke and Han took out, and then...
Right, so I feel like, they wouldn't have a bad person fly the Falcon.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, though. How many bad people have you seen jump into an X-Wing?
That's true, but what I would love is because the dice are still on that Falcon, the real Falcon. The real dice are. Because the ones that were left, the Resistance base, were fake. So I would love it if Ben was able to fly the Falcon, and like the dice were up there, and he was able to hold the real dice. And like I would almost see it though as I want the Falcon. Like there may be a point because I honestly think he and Rey are gonna go rogue and like work together. So she might have the Falcon at that point, and she might be shooting and he's flying. Who knows? But I would love if he flies the Falcon. But at the end, I'd like them to fly it together. It'd be like quality, they balance. But I'd like
where's Chewie go then?
I feel like Chewie's gonna retire.
Retire?
Yeah.
Retire or retire?
No, I think like he's gonna choose to retire. Like, okay, Han and Leia's son is go back to his home. He's got a family. He's got a wife and Lumpy.
He's been away from his family for how long?
He's got his wife and Lumpy.
I don't think he really care about Chewbacca if you think about it. How long has he been away from his family?
It's true, but he's got his family. He's got his wife and Lumpy.
Do we know that?
Yes, we do.
Fact? That they're still
together? Still canon, yeah. They're still together. Still got a family.
Do we know that? Have we been updated on Chewbacca's marital status?
I doubt they get rid of Chewbacca's family. He's going to go back to Kashyyyk with the Lumpy and his wife.
I'm sure his wife divorced him because he's been away for so long.
Oh my god. Yeah, but I could see him almost being like, at the end, when Ben's redeemed, like, okay, Han and Leia's son is fine. I'm done. Like, you know, Han and Leia aren't here anymore. I've sort of, like, done my thing. I'm leaving.
He's not going to dedicate himself to the Resistance?
I don't think so, because at that point, at the end of the movie, it's going to be over, the whole conflict, if it goes the way we think it's going to go.
Well, maybe he wouldn't go back to that. Maybe he could go back to, I'm sorry, I forgot the island name. But...
Octo?
Yeah. Maybe he just hangs out with the Porgs.
He probably would hang out with the Porgs.
Well, I mean, that's the only connection he has. Other than Rey, right now, he has connections with the Porgs.
I feel like he's going to go back to Kashyyyk. Like, I can see that scene in my head.
Ugh. With what? What ship?
They can give him an X-Wing. I don't know.
An X-Wing?
No, maybe...
The escape pod from episode 3.
It could be. Maybe Rey will drop him off on Kashyyyk. He dropped her off to see her boyfriend. She drops him off to go back to his family. Makes sense.
Let's drop off that ugly, hairy animal on the planet and let's get out
And then, okay, so I can see like
let's
this.
Let's go on our honeymoon and let's...
Listen, I can see the movie ending like this, right?
Yeah.
So, Rey is walking up onto the ramp of the Falcon, because it always ends with the Falcon with the two of them. And Kylo, like, isn't sure if he, like, he's redeemed at that point, isn't sure he should go on the ship because it's like, it was his dad's ship and all the drama and angst with it. And she's like, no, come on. And so... I think at the start he's gonna be like the co-pilot, she's the pilot, and then, you know, they go and they drop off Chewie on Kashyyyk to see Lumpy and his wife. I just like to say Lumpy, and then at that point they're gonna like fly off maybe to Octo where they're gonna have their own little like Jedi temple or whatever, and they're gonna switch spots and he's gonna be in the pilot seat, and then they fly off into the twin sunset, the metaphorical twin sunset. And then the movie's going to skip time jump 5 years. That's where you're going to get your 5-year time jump when they're on Acto with their Jedi temple and their fraternal twin children, because it's balanced the Force, and they're going to watch the suns.
I would hope in that epilogue that you're talking about, the child that we saw from The Last Jedi would be in the class, because that was really important to show that crap at the end.
But what I think is going to happen is, as opposed to seeing a sunset, they'll see the sunrise, because it's arising on a new day in the galaxy. Anyway, that went off on a complete tangent there, but the point is
there's
that
kid at the end
that exists.
That kid at The Last Jedi was not necessary. It was pointless, and it just annoyed the hell out of me. No, it wasn't.
It was showing that other people can have the Force.
I don't care about some dumb kid.
Listen, he was a better kid than the ones in than Jet Lucas or any of the ones in Revenge of the Sith.
But you know
Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?
Yes, that was the greatest moment in all the Star Wars prequels. That was the greatest moment.
No, the best moment was, sir, what if someone erased it from the archive memory?
Yeah, well, that's close second. But that was the best. My third favorite moment for the prequels was when Jimmy Smits yells no after Jet Lucas gets shot, and he jumps in the speeder and flies away in fear for his life. Those were my 3 favorite moments in the prequels. When children die, when a child says something really stupid, and then when a child dies.
What about yippee?
That was okay.
Or, I'm a person and my name is Anakin.
That's actually my most quotable moment from the prequels.
Are you an angel?
Second most quoted.
Now, okay, we're not ragging on Jake Lloyd. He did well. I'm not annoyed by him.
No.
He's a kid.
He's a kid. Guess what? You put any kid in that situation, he'd be annoying as hell. I mean, a great actor.
So, to get off, the child tangent there, they're going to have children at the end of this movie.
In other words, children don't make a movie good.
Okay, they're not going to really speak. It's going to be like 2-second shot of their twins.
Well, maybe what will happen at the end of this, they'll go, Master Skywalker, what are we going to do now?
There's no one with the last name Skywalker. It'd be Master Solo.
Oh, you're right. Ugh.
Oh, but what would be a really cool reveal is Master Solo, and Rey walks out, because guess what? She's a Solo now, too.
Yeah, because those nun things... Amphibinuns married them.
Oh, my God. I would love to see that, the Amphibinuns. It makes sense for them to go to...
That actually makes a lot of sense. If you have an ending like that, they go back to the island and they have a marriage there.
Because that's sort of where their love bloomed. And also, it was the site of the first Jedi Temple, and the Prime Jedi symbol's there. The Yin-Yang Jedi symbol's there, and they are the embodiment of Yin and Yang.
And they had their first touch there.
They had their first touch there. They had all their first Force Bond moments there.
All of them?
They did have all of them. Well, she was there until they touched and he was there. But yeah, all the Force Bond ones.
Sometimes when we touch.
Sometimes when we touch, Luke pops in and
the
just
honesty's
like, no.
way too much for Luke Skywalker.
Way too much for Luke. He's like, ain't nobody got time for that. He's like, listen, okay, in the old expanded universe, I used to have a wife and son, but they took that away from me, so if I can't get any, no one can. So that's really it for the photos. Like, there really isn't much there.
We haven't gotten anything in a while.
And production's going until February, so there still could be a lot more, but I don't really think we're going to get photo leaks of Rey or Kylo, because we never really have in the past all that much. I think they're going to leak things that aren't as important, but that stuff they're going to, like, keep close, because they're like, no.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So that's it for today's episode, or this month's episode.
On the 21st of September.
On the 21st of September. Do you remember the 21st night of September? Oh, in November we can do Remember, the 5th of November.
That we can.
Yes, we can.
So we'll do a podcast on the 5th of November.
All right, we'll have to. All right, so you can follow us on Twitter at Nima Outpost Pod. And we're also on YouTube and SoundCloud. And you can follow me on Tumblr. My Tumblr name is the 4i, that's EYED Jedi. Alright, so that's it for this month. May the Force be with you, and...